Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rise. I hope all of y'all are this October the 20th. It's a Monday. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here with y'all. Oh, look, I just went there. What's good? What's good? What's good, Grand Rising? It's early. It's about 6:45. I wanted to come on this week and start the week off right. It's a Monday. I know y'all like it when we get into these live streams and get hyped. Grand Rising Austin. I know a lot of people too was on my ass when I ended the last one in relation to um, that there's no law that requires you to protect your private automobile. Really, there's no thing that can be required of you, period, like anything. So, with that being said, like, there's going on that we kind of get into, and I want to run. I think once we go through a lot of these case laws and opinions all throughout time, I think what y'all are going to start to realize is that you've kind of been and you said muffled audio. Okay, let's get this fixed. Thanks, guys. So we'll edit. Let's see what we have. Say. Y'all stay here. I'm gonna be right back. All right, check, check, check. 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Check, 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 check. 1, 2. Y'all let me know if I'm back. Y'all let me know if I'm back. Oh, sound is good. Good to go? We good to go? We ready? Perfect. Okay. Things have been really weird this morning. My Snapchat won't even work. Like everything was gone. There's an issue, but yeah, we'll get it fixed. Okay. So, like I was saying, a lot of things within this document is going to really empower you. It's going to bring you into I think it's going to bring you into a mind state that says, "Oh, okay, I really do have all these things. Cam just ain't BSing me out here." No, I'm not just BSing. So let's get into it. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. We got a window. Also shares the system audio. This one and this one. Share. Okay. See if everything working. Okay. All right. Looks like we got some action. Okay. Now I want y'all to remember. Again, no law requires you to do anything, nothing at all. If they saying that you're required to do something, they're essentially calling you a slave. You're not a slave, bro. Like you got to start owning up on that and standing up on that. Just because someone wants to act as though they have authority does not mean they have authority. That's how this goes. All right. So, as will be made painfully evident here within, a private automobile is not required by any law, or should I say statute, code or statute to be recorded. Thank you. Because most people think that a law is a code or a statute, and it is not. Any recording or a pledge thereof of a private automobile to an agency is strictly voluntary. You're giving up your own voluntary rights to do it. Grand Rising Lim, Grand Rising Jonathan, Grand Rising Adam, Grand Rising Ian, Grand Rising Breon, Grand Rising John. What's up, Chris, for real? What's up, Mr. Scott? What's up, John Williams? Grand Rising to everybody in the chat. Any recordation is a contract you or a dealership has done was fraudulently conveyed. Act as the recording agency automobile dealer told you that you must record your private property. They lied to you, my boy. The voluntary pledge, voluntary pledge that was done without just compensation is usually done through fraud, deceit, coercion, without just compensation, and withholding of facts, which can only be construed as fraud and unjust enrichment by an agency, as well as a willful malicious act to unjustly enrich the recording agency and its public servants. Y'all got me messed up. I'm not finna be this guy that y'all can just scapegoat on anymore. Y'all really got me messed up. I don't know who y'all are. We're my people. We ain't dealing with it no more. Now, if men through fear, fraud, in terms, renounce, or give up any natural right that you already have, you the one giving it up. Grand Rising Hannah. Grand Rising Adam. The eternal law of reason and the grand end of society would absolutely vacate such renunciation. The right to freedom being the gift of Almighty God. It is not in the power of man to alienate this gift and voluntarily become a slave. Let's read that again because that comes from Samuel Adams. It's not me, it's Samuel Adams. If men, through fear, fraud, or mistake, should in terms renounce or give up any natural right, the eternal law of reason and the grand end of society would absolutely vacate such renunciation. The right to freedom being a gift from the great creator, the great I am, the most high above. It is not in the power of man to alienate this gift and voluntarily become a slave. I ain't no slave. Sorry, you're gonna have to go on to the next one because I'm gonna stand on it, regardless of what your opinions are. Oh, it, oh, it's for the public safety, and Cameron, you should just do it because everybody else wants you to, and everybody's gonna be safe. And bro, I don't need you, bro. I'm safe, and if I'm not safe and I hurt somebody, then come after my ass. Don't come after me before. This is a Minority Report. I ain't no Tom Hanks. I ain't no Cruise. Knowing dude sitting up. Yeah, man, come on. I'm not. Again, men, quote, men are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure, not grant, or create these rights, governments are instituted. That property which a man has honestly acquired, he retains full control of. Again, the property that which a man has honestly acquired, he retains full control of. Full control. So that's what I'm saying. Like people be like, well, what do I need? Do I need to get a title? And do I need to get this? And do I, bro, you don't need nothing other than possession of that bad boy. And maybe you can have some paperwork to help you out, but that should be of your own creation. Why you got to go get it through another? You go get it through another. All you're doing is succumbing to them. Why succumb? When you hold all power in the first place, just stand in your power. Subject to these limitations. First, that he shall not use it to his neighbor's injury. Don't hurt another person. Actus reus mens rea. What's up, AK Audit? And that does not mean that he must use it for his neighbor's benefit. Second, that if he devotes it to the public use, he gives it to the public a right to control that use. And third, that whenever the public needs require, the public may take upon it payment of due compensation. Bud versus the People of the State of New York. There should be no arbitrary deprivation of life or liberty or arbitrary spoliation of property. Police power and process under Barber versus Connolly and Yikio versus Hopkins. But whenever the operation and effect of any general regulation is to extinguish or destroy that which by law of the land is the property of any person, so far as it has that effect, it is unconstitutional and void. We talking about ab initio. Thus, a law is considered as being a deprivation of property within the meaning of this constitutional guarantee if it deprives an owner of one of its essential attributes, destroys its value, restricts, or interrupts its common necessary or profitable use, hampers the owner in the application of it to the purposes of trade, or imposes conditions upon the right to hold or to use it, and thereby seriously impairs its value. Well, by golly gee, my guy. Let's read that one more time. Thus, a law is considered as being a deprivation of property within the meaning of this constitutional guarantee if it deprives an owner of one of its essential attributes. It destroys its value, restricts or interrupts its common, necessary, or profitable use. Okay? And then, or hampers the owner in the application of its purposes of trade, or imposes conditions upon the right to hold, to have in your possession, or to use it, and thereby seriously impairs its value. Well, I mean, right there, they sitting there telling you. Probably need to get into that. And this is in relation to a statute, right? You get that out of 167 amateurs constitutional law section. My favorite numbers 3, 6, and 9. Ooh. They always put the good stuff in the good numbered sections. If you ain't noticed. Grand Rising. If you're just joining us right now, There is no law that requires you to pledge anything. Made a slave. Justice Bandies eloquently affirmed his condemnation of abuses practiced by government officials who were defendants acting as government officials. In the case of Olmsted versus the U.S., 277 U.S. 438-48, in 1928, he declared, let's hear what he got to say, quote, decency, security, and liberty alike demand that government officials shall be subjected to the same rules of conduct that are commands to the citizen. In a government of law, existence of the government will be imperiled if it fails to observe the law scrupulously. Our government is the potent, the omnipresent teacher. For good or for ill, it teaches the whole people by its example. Crime is contagious. If the government becomes a lawbreaker, it breeds contempt for law. Thank you. It invites every man to become a law unto himself. It invites anarchy. To declare that in the administration of the law, the end justifies the means would bring a terrible retribution. Now, when they say administration of the law, too, don't get it messed up when they thinking they just talking about codes and policies. No, bro, that's not the law. That's codes and policies. Against that pernicious doctrine, this court should resolutely set its face. Now, let's get into the duty of the licensor, the DMV commissioner. The information created and surrounding the stricti juris doctrine regarding a particular license which may or may not be represented by and revealed within the contents and control of a license agreement. License agreement. Quote, but must be revealed upon demand, and failure to do so is concealment. A withholding of material facts. The inducing contractual consideration. Known by those who have a duty and are bound to reveal such. One more time. But must be revealed. What are we talking about in relation to a license agreement under the stricti juris doctrine? Okay. Regarding a particular license which may or may not be represented by and revealed within the contents and control of a license agreement, must be revealed upon demand. So as soon as you say it, I need to see it. Show me where it say that. Oh, sir, it's against our policy. I don't give a damn what your policy says. Your policy don't trump my rights. And just because you don't know them, I do. Give me a manager. And failure to do so is concealment. And a withholding of material facts. The inducing contractual consideration. Known by those who have a duty and are bound to reveal it. Why? Because they're public servants. They're meant to serve. So when we ask, they're still meant to serve. And if they're ignorant in relation to that, you need to go find somebody who's going to give me the answer. It's not my fault. Cater versus Manufacturers Traders Trust Company. Is an automobile always a vehicle or motor vehicle? Argument. Federal. That's where we need to be. Federal. If you ain't off in the federal, what you doing? You over here playing in today's system. In a sense. All I'm gonna say on that one. In a sense, not all the way. Motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and oh, that good weed got me. Damn, that's that good shit. What I will say is, and there must be another there. It doesn't say or. It says and. This is the second requirement for it to be defined as. That fire. It is that fire, bro. Oof. And used for commercial purposes on the highways, in transportation. Transportation of what? Passengers and property, or property and cargo. Used for commercial purposes. You dig what I'm saying? Means the carriage of persons or property for any fare, fee, rate, or charge or other consideration, or directly or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. 18 U.S.C. 31. Okay. 18 U.S.C. 31. Okay? Motor vehicle. There you go. Well, the state statute says, the state says, the state statute says. Grand Rising, Kevin. Nice to see you in here, brother. Quote, a carriage is peculiarly a family or household article. A carriage is peculiarly a family or household article. Anybody know the U.C. that falls under the household article in relation to your carriage? It contributes in a large degree to the health, conveyance, comfort, and welfare of the householder or of the family, unquote. Arthur versus Morgan, 1884. Let's get to the core of it. Nothing has switched between carriage and today. 9-109. Good job, Bug. I see you, my boy. On it. Good job, bro. Quote, the Supreme Court in Arthur versus Morgan held that carriages were properly classified as household effects, and we see no reason that automobiles should not be similarly disposed of. Ooh! Bang, bang. Pow, pow. Sniping them. Sniping them. From far. How far? 1907. Sniped them. Got him. One more time. The Supreme Court in Arthur versus Morgan held that carriages were properly classified as household effects, and we see no reason that automobiles should not be similarly disposed of. Hillhouse versus United States. How far are we sniping? 1907. A soldier's personal automobile is a part of his household goods. For all my soldiers out there, U.S. versus Bomar. Quote, they even put it into words and phrases, permanent edition West. I'll get part 94. This is as well. Okay, so quote, it is a jury question whether, a jury question now in this quote, an automobile is a motor vehicle. Why is that? What is the public's knowledge? You dig what I'm saying? Like, what is the public's knowledge? Do they know enough, or are they not all aware? United States versus Johnson, 1983. Looks like you need to distinguish and give the truth through whatever aspect you do if you want to trial like that with a jury. Now let's get into the state. And the use determines classification. Use determines classification. Quote, in determining whether or not a motor boat was included in the expression household effects, matter of Winburn's will, stated the test to be, quote, whether the articles are or are not used in or by the household or for the benefit or comfort of the family, unquote. In regards to Bloomingdale's estate in 1955, quote, the use to which an item is put rather than its physical characteristics determine whether it should be classified as a consumer good under UCC 9-109 or, shout out book, equipment under UCC 9-1092, Grimes versus Macy Ferguson, Inc. in 1978 under Alabama. This is a really good one, y'all. Y'all should screenshot that one. This one fire right here. This one fire right here. I'll be like, what? Say, man, you know how I'm using this old bad boy here? I know it's got physical characteristics of a motor vehicle. I get it. I get it right now. I get that you think this thing here, sir, is transporting goods and property. But no, good sir, I'm just traveling on these roads, open as a matter of right. They're open to public vehicular travel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna get toasty on them. I'm gonna get a little bit country on them for real, for real. I'm gonna have fun with them, bro. I'm gonna have fun with them. I was mad for a second at these people, but it's cause, yeah, we about to have fun again with this shit. Let them pull me over again. I'm ready. Quote, under UCC 9-109, there's a real distinction between goods purchased for personal use and those purchased for business use. The two are mutually exclusive, and the principal use to which the property is put should be considered as determinative, unquote. James Talcott, Inc. versus Gee. It's a good one too, 1968. Use determines classification. God, I missed my S's there for real. Grand Rising, Brion. Or, yeah, Grand Rising. Quote, the classification of goods in UCC 9-109 are mutually exclusive. McFadden versus Mercantile. The classification of goods under UCC 1-109 is a question of fact. So let's bring forth the facts, not the hearsay that's brought forth in these police reports. They out here making all these crazy ass arrests and don't even really truly have probable cause. Just hearsay statements with no evidence. And then want to impose on your rights. Quote, the definition, and this was in Morgan County Feeders, Inc. versus McCormick, excuse me. Quote, the definition of goods includes an automobile. The definition of goods includes an automobile. Hinton versus Government, Employees, Finance, and Industrial Loan Corp. That was in 1974. Household goods, the next section. Quote, the term household goods includes everything about the house that is usually held and enjoyed therewith and that tends to the comfort and accommodation of the household. Law wheel versus law wheel. This is also, they put into words and phrases, permanent addition. Pocket Part 94 cites Mitchell's wheel below. Man. Household goods. I'm hoping y'all can see the nexus. They got a nexus that they've put out there, but there's a private, I wouldn't even say private anymore. I would just say there is a natural right, like nexus that you have that protects you. I mean, your aura protects you, your energy protects you, and it's honestly about the intelligence that's, man, but it's the knowledge. This nexus is here for you. All household goods are owned by the user thereof and used solely for non-commercial purposes, shall be exempt from taxation. Let's before we even finish, let's just go back. All household goods, okay, we'll go slow for y'all, owned by the user, okay, thereof and used solely for non-commercial purposes, okay, shall be exempt from taxation. All right, I got it. That's pretty straightforward. And such person entitled to such exemption shall not be required to take any affirmative action, okay, I got it, to receive the benefit from such exemption. Damn, unquote. Does that just mean I can do it without anybody telling me anything or getting any form of anything? I just get to do it, right? Right. That's under the Arizona Constitution, Article 9.2. Damn. Arizona, y'all shouldn't be having problems out there. Automobiles classified as vehicles. Quote, household goods did not include an automobile used by testator, who was, okay, we're getting a distinction here. Listen, we're going to restart. Automobiles classified as vehicles, okay? When your automobile as being just the owner and user of that bad boy, okay? Now being classified as a vehicle. Okay? Quote, household goods did not include an automobile used by the testator, who was a practicing physician in going from his residence to his office and vice versa, and in making visits to his patients. Mathis versus Causey, 1931. Now this one, I'm kind of like, a little bit, right? Because let's say that my job or my business is at someone's house and I have to freely travel to get there to then do the business at that house. That one's a little testy for me. Quote, debtors could not avoid lien on motor vehicle, as motor vehicles are not household goods. Oh no. Within the meaning of bankruptcy code, lien avoidance provision. Uh-oh. You see how they just switching up words in their language and their contracts to what fits with case law, Black Law's Dictionary, and all the others, to be able to get there a sync of the contract and you accepting that terminology. Because debtors could not avoid a lien being placed on a motor vehicle, as motor vehicles are not household goods within the meaning of the bankruptcy code lien avoidance provision. That means loophole. This is in regards to Martinez versus in the bankruptcy in New Mexico. And they even got that bad boy again. Words and phrases. Automobiles not classified as vehicles. Automobile purchased for the purpose of transporting buyer to and from his place of employment was consumer goods, as defined in U.C.C. 9-109, Malico versus Volunteer Finance Loan Corp. In 1966. Quote, the provisions of U.C.C. 2-316, which is another 336, of the Maryland U.C.C. do not apply to sales of consumer goods, a term which includes automobiles, whether new or used, that are brought primarily for personal, family, or household use. Maryland Independent Automobile Dealer Association, Inc. versus Administrator of the Motor Vehicle Admin. This might be an interesting read in 1978. Quote, as far as the case is concerned, quote, an automobile was part of testator's household goods within codicil in regards to Mitchell's will. Quote, the expression personal effects clearly includes an automobile in regards to Burnside's will in 1945. Unquote, a yacht and 6 automobiles were personal belongings and household effects in Bloomingdale's estates in 1955 again. So the conclusion of this part. What's up, Doug? What's up, Jonathan? See you on the chat. Is an automobile always a motor vehicle? Excuse me. Is an automobile always a vehicle or motor vehicle? No. This is a question of fact that turns on the use to which the automobile in question is put, y'all, i.e., either personal or commercial. While the presumption of an automobile being a vehicle or motor vehicle is created by the owner of said automobile registering same with the state as a vehicle, this presumption may be overcome by an affirmative defense to the allegation of the automobile being a vehicle, barring any evidence to the contrary indicating commercial use. Oh my gosh. Beezy, what's up, Beezy? What's up, Sly? Shy? Yeah, man. Used to find. I used to find. You can't mess with me if I ain't in commercial. Better back, man, we moving off commercial. Always staying private in this thing. Moving in a swing. Swing and we bang like a Texas made, man. Yeah, you knowing how we doing from the... Hey, say what? Use defines classification. Private automobile is not required to be registered by law. The California Motor Vehicle Code Section 260, private cars, vans, etc., not in commerce for profit are immune to registration fees. It's literally telling you. Under subsection A, a commercial vehicle is a vehicle of a type required to be registered under this code. B, passenger vehicles are not used for the transportation of persons for hire, compensation, or profit. And house cars are not commercial vehicles. Damn! Where'd you find that one, he said? See, right here, under the California Motor Vehicle Code, Section 260. See, a van pool vehicle is not a commercial vehicle, my guy. Quote, a vehicle not used for commercial activity is a consumer good. It is not a type of vehicle required to be registered and use tax paid, of which the tab is evidence of a receipt of the damn tax. Damn. That's a killer. We sniping. This is Banker Johnson versus Jones, bro. We got to get our education up. You dig what I'm talking about? What's happening? What's going to happen in the courts? Once you bring in this type of things, your arguments and your nexus is very clear and precise in knowing who you are. As far as the creation of the critter, how they going to stop you then? Then what's going to be ending up happening is a whole bunch of constitutional violations. At that point, you might as well just say, hey, man, we bringing forth a suit. Let's bring forth the civil suit. Like I might as well, because y'all ain't respecting my rights. I'm coming through with all of this sound case law, telling you what it is, and then you gonna come and tell me it ain't. Like that ain't gonna work. How you gonna make that work? You tell me. You're gonna sit out here. That's why people just be like, "Oh, well, I don't wanna know. I've learned it. I don't wanna hear it. I don't wanna argue this. That's not what it says." Bro, I'm trying to educate you. Can you get your education up so I can live in peace and happiness like the great creator intended all of us to be? First penny says, "Mind your business." It says, "Mind your business, bro." The first penny. Go look it up. Those bitches are expensive, bro. Better go try to find you a replica. Those things are expensive. See what we got here, man. How do I go back to sharing my screen, dude? Talking about the tab is evidence of receipt of the tax. Don't you get it? You've been tagged, my boy. You got tagged like a cattle. Your car. What? Get out there, boy. Whip that nigga. Get on, comb that highway. You know, bro, I swear, bro. If honestly, if I was in that mindset of being like a state trooper, I would have one of those thoughts one of those days where I see all these cars passing me, right? And if I got my cowboy hat down there in Texas, you know what I'm saying? I got my cowboy hat. And I'd get out of my car with a whip and I'd on y'all's ass on the highway as y'all all passing. Get out there, boy. You cattle. As soon as I see one of them cattle not branded, I'm running to the car, bro. I'm running to the car and I'm going to come get your ass. And in the car, I'm holding that whip as I'm coming. I'm putting the car in drive. I'm holding that whip. I'm coming after your ass, about to pull you over. You don't want to have your tag, boy. I can see how they be thinking. They got the music playing. Because y'all supposed to be, if you ain't cattle, your ass gonna get got. That's how they trying to get us now. You cattle. You a slave. I ain't no slave. And it comes through wisdom, knowledge, enlightenment. And that comes from a great creator. Only the great creator gonna give you that. Sir. Again, you having a tab is evidence in the receipt of the tax, the use tax. Quote, it is held that a tax upon the common carriers by motor vehicles is based upon a reasonable classification and does not involve any constitutional discrimination, although it does not apply to private vehicles, although it clear terminology for you to use within your documentation. Private vehicles. Oh no, sir. This old sovereign citizen theory. No, this is what it says in Dessers versus Wichita in 1915, bro. Like, quit trying to play me for a fool. I'm not no fool. Or those used by the owner in his own business and not for hire. Meaning, like, in my own business is like, I'm minding my own damn business, just like on the penny. Again, this is Dessers versus Wichita. It's in the Iowa Motor Vehicle Association versus Railroad Commissioners as well. So all those in Iowa, this is a good case law for you. Shout out my boy Kurt. Got something going on in Iowa right now. Yeah. There out in Iowa too. Quote, the self-driven vehicles are classified according to the use. So even if they say any self-driven car, right? Any propelled, right? That's what they be trying to put in their terminology in the statutes in the legislature to make you kind of get fooled on it. Are classified according to the use. It's the use. It's the use. Here goes another one. To which they are put rather than according to the means by which they are propelled. Damn. Wow, we sniping again. That's another killer on any argument that they bring forth. Oh, well, it's a motor vehicle, isn't it? Aren't you behind it? Aren't you driving it? That's what they're trying to say in my federal case with WSP, Washington State Patrol. Oh, well, you're in control of it. It's a motor vehicle. No, my guy. All of this is easily brought forth in any kind of arguments that we need to bring forth on any degree. Right now, I got a stir reply that I need to do on my federal case against Hood River. I might just throw this one in there. It depends. Depends on how I feel. Share. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, we rocking. Into the knowledge they can stop. We hold it. If oh, we gon' moving to the land from me so I'm most moving in the okay. Quote, in the view of this rule, a statutory provision that supervising officials may exempt such persons when the transportation, keyword, is not on a commercial basis, means that they must exempt them. Exemption. I want my exemptions. Oh, nigga, what? I want them all. I want them all. I want exemptions. I need a pain in the same man. I need all exemptions. Right? Yes, I need them all. I need them all in every way, form, and fashion. You must exempt them. State versus Johnson. Go get them. Go get them. I know they mad. They don't like it. They don't like it. I'm sorry that I'm not. See New Jersey's Motor Vehicle Code, Chapter 3, Section 3931. Certain vehicles exempted from chapter, which reads, quote, accepted, excuse me, automobile, fire engines, and such self-propelling vehicles as are used neither for the conveyance of persons for hire, pleasure, or business, nor for the transportation of freight, such as steam road rollers and traction engineers, are accepted from the provisions of this chapter. Uh-oh, uh-oh. See annual report of the Attorney General. And honestly, when you really look into the opinions of the Attorney Generals throughout the states, what you're going to end up finding is you're going to find a really good opinions that really just lay it on out. It really tells the public, like, yo, yeah, y'all aren't supposed to be doing this. And people don't really utilize those. I spoke about it to, I think the last stop I got into on my bike by Union Gap. And I pretty much told homeboy, I was like, look, man, like the Attorney General has already really, oh shit, the Attorney General already really made this really clear here in Washington, and they really do in a lot of the states as well. So if you kind of look into the opinions um, of the Attorney General and find the right ones in relation to them making these type of statements, you can just do some AI research. Might take you a little bit, but you'll find it. Um, yeah, it's pretty dope. So see the annual report of the Attorney General, and they support everything that you bring it forth, of the state of New York issued on July 21st of 1909 in Albany, New York. Quote, there is no requirement that the owner of a motor vehicle, it even says motor vehicle here, shall procure a license to run the same, nor is there any requirement that any other person shall do so unless he proposes to become a chauffeur. Unless, do you see the okay, unless, there it is. Unless, there it is. Okay, that's the point of severance. There's an blah, 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 severance, unless he becomes a chauffeur or a person conducting an automobile as an employee for hire or wages. Damn. Yours truly, Edward R. O'Malley, Attorney General. Stop with the cap. Stop with the cap. I don't want to be no chauffeur. I ain't no chauffeur. I ain't ever, well, I can't say that. I ain't no employee unless I'm an employee of the people. I'm an employee of God. I'm an employee of the great creator. I'm an employee of the Most High. If you want to say that, then say that. But the only wages I'm getting is the blessings that I have before me now to be able to breathe and experience all that is. What y'all talking about? I don't even do this for man's recognition. Like all of this is done, everything that man should be for the recognition of gratitude towards a great creator. Like if you ain't living your life to the best and thanking God for just being alive, bro, and being able to have the blessings that you have, no matter how poor your situation is. Like if you're watching this video right now, bro, you should just be like, you should, when we done with this video, just get off and thank God, bro. Because like you are blessed in comparison to a lot of other people in this world. And that's real for real. That's real talk, bro. Be thankful. Be thankful. And we're gonna go get their ass with this case law too. Let's go. All right, so where do we stop off at? We was up to Mo. Okay, here we wait, where's the Attorney General? Yeah. Okay. So here we go. See also the laws of Wyoming, 2002 on the Motor Vehicle Code. Okay. And then also see RCW. This is coming from where I'm at. I'm in Washington. Okay. Privately owned buses not engaged in for-hire transportation are outside the jurisdiction of the Division of Motor Vehicles Enforcement. Damn. Got them. They done for, bro. Let's read it again. Privately owned buses are not engaged in for-hire transportation are outside the jurisdiction of the Division of Motor Vehicles Enforcement of NCGS Article 17, Chapter 20, 58 NCAG 1. Now, what's cool is I know BD gonna like this. I don't think he's in here right now, but Christopher gonna like this because he was just talking about this in our Discord. If you ain't part of the Discord, you might be tripping a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You can come join the Discord just by actually looking in the description below. You'll see a link for the Discord and you can come join. But yeah, we was talking about this morning, or maybe we was talking about last night, but we was getting into the NCGS articles as well as the NCAG. It follows that those citizens not engaged in extraordinary use of the highway for profit or gain are likewise outside of the jurisdiction of the Division of Motor Vehicles. Damn. Man, that's killing them right there. What do they want to say about that? Bring that one in. Bring that one in. Go get it shepherdized. Yep. 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 Big deals. Big deals. Since the sale of personal property is not required to be evidenced by any written instrument. Excuse me. Let's say that one more time. I don't got to do nothing. Since a sale of personal property is not required. Why? Because nothing can be required of you, bro. You are a free-willed living being, a creation of the Creator. You self-govern. We live in a self-governing republic. So since a sale of personal property is not required to be evidenced by any written instrument in order to be valid, it has been held in North Carolina that there may be a transfer of title to an automobile without complying with the registration statute, which requires a transfer and delivery of a certificate of title. Not title, but a certificate. You got a coupon, boy. They give you the coupon, they keeping the real thing over here. You know that thing they rip. Here you go. You get the certificate and I'll keep the real boy. Certifying that there is a title, but you don't got it. Unquote. NC Law Review, Volume 32, page 545. Okay, and this is going to be in Carolina Discount Court versus Landis Motor Company. Quote, the following shall be exempt from the requirements of registration and the certificate of title. 1. Any such vehicle driven or moved upon the highway in conformance with the provisions of this article relating to manufacturers, dealers, or non-residents. That's why you, unquote. That's why you got to get that damn residency rebuttal PDF. Send that thing on in. You know what I'm saying? Rebut the residency so they can get up off your ass. Because once they start making those presumptions and assumptions, oh boy, that's where they're getting their hands tied into you. 2. Any such vehicle which is driven or moved upon a highway only for the purpose of crossing such highway from one property to another. 1, 2, and then there's a comment. Not driven or moved upon the highway for transporting persons or property for profit. Uh-oh. It's coming under that statutory construction. Now let's look at the California Constitution in Article 1, Section 8. And similar statements made in all other state constitutions mandates that no one be compelled to be a witness against himself. Is in agreement with the Supreme Court ruling in Haynes versus U.S., wherein the ruling was that to force anyone to register anything is communicative and such communicative evidence is precluded by the Fifth Amendment. Do you hear this argument? I want y'all to really comprehend this argument here, okay? I want you to really comprehend this argument in any kind of evidentiary hearings, your notice and demand to dismiss hearings, your motions hearings, your probable cause hearings, your jurisdictional hearings, any kind of documents that you may bring forth. In most constitutions around the United States, they mandates that no one be again compelled to be a witness against himself. Is in agreement with the Supreme Court ruling in Haynes versus U.S. that wherein the ruling was that to force anyone to register anything is communicative, and such communicative evidence is precluded by the Fifth Amendment. Quote, no state government entity has the power to allow or deny passage on the highways, byways, nor waterways, transporting his vehicles and personal property for either recreation or business, but being subject only to the local regulation, example being, okay? Now, this is important because I believe the same way. Safety, are you being safe on the roads? Caution for others, are you being cautious for others? Traffic lights, are you stopping and abiding by the traffic lights? Speed limits, are you being able to stay safe and cautious within the speed limits unless there's an emergency, etc.? Travel is not a privilege requiring licensing, vehicle registration, or forced insurances. You get it? Like, how much slower do I need to go for the slowest of the slow who want to say you're required and that this case law is old and doesn't apply anymore? Like, I don't. Please, I hope you understand the truth or the nature of what is real. Let's get into it. The fundamental right to travel is not a privilege. Okay. Let's get in. It's very simple for you, boy. The fundamental right to travel is not a privilege. It is a gift granted by our Maker and restated by our founding fathers, our ancestors, as unalienable and cannot be taken by any man, government, made law, or color of law, known as private code, secret, or a statute. To wit, quote, as a general rule, men have natural right to do anything which their inclinations may suggest, if it be not evil in itself and in no way impairs the rights of others. Bam! Bam! Again, that falls right back into what you didn't probably watch yesterday, which is, I think, part 6 on self-governing, bruh, right? We reading from my book, Self-Governing, bruh. Shameless plug. I'm gonna throw it in. If you ain't got my book yet, Self-Governing, bruh, you can go get that. You can go get it on Amazon, or you can just go to my website, www.piitp.com. Again, Self-Governing, bro. This is a really, really good book. Yesterday we was reading in chapter 10. We was in the actus rea versus mens res, and going into the aspect of a guilty mind and a guilty act. And yeah, you might want to go check that out on YouTube as we read that chapter. I think it was 10. And it's a really great book. You could pick it up for a holiday gift this year. I think it would be really good. If not, you want to get something different, or you just want to get both. You can also get the smaller paperback. This ain't a hardback. Paperback, The Sovereign Citizen. This is really good, man. This gives a lot of universal insight to how you really should be living. Well, this gives a lot of more doctrines and kind of law based. The Sovereign Citizen definitely gives you what you need to know. Um, on a spiritual level in relation to just law. Again, you're right. And the reason I named it the sovereignest citizen is because I really do feel as though I am the most sovereignest citizen of this damn land. And the reason I feel that way is because I feel like I got one of the, we understand what's going on in relation to the sovereignest citizen, right? Or excuse me, a sovereign citizen. And people be on my ass about it. And I know you don't get mad at me and say what you want to say, but I'm just gonna read from this 1940 joint resolution. where they created I Am an American Day. And in this preamble, you'll see right here, it states that whereas some 2 million young men and women in the United States each year reach the age of 21 years, and remember that the president signed this as well. And whereas it is desirable that the sovereign citizens of our nation be prepared for their responsibilities and impressed with the significance of their status in our self governing republic. So, right there, what you can see is that whereas it is desirable, something is desirable at this time period, and knowing what a sovereign citizen was, that the sovereign citizens of our nation be prepared for the responsibilities, meaning something is renewed in relation to everything that you now have becoming of age rather than us being 18 now, it was 21 then. Responsibilities and impressed. It says, impress something to be bestowed upon you with such great significance, with the significance, again, yes, of their status, meaning that it's of the highest order in our self governing republic. So not a democratic republic, not a police state, none of that bullshit. We're talking about within our self-governing republic, meaning that your right to free will. Okay, I just wanted to give you all that because when, I think the sovereign citizen thing has really been taken so far away from its true roots of meaning. And I'm all into etymology. Like, let's talk etymology here. Let's get into the facts of what words are, and let's know the truth. So now, quote, traveling is passing from place to place, an act of performing a journey. And a traveler is a person who travels, unquote. 1858. Quote, the right of transit through each state, doesn't matter which state, anytime that I'm going through it, the city, wherever I may be on a public road, with every species of property known to Constitution of the United States and recognized by that paramount law, is secured by an instrument to each citizen and does not demand upon uncertain and changeable ground of mere committee, unquote. Quote, traffic infractions are not a crime. People versus battle. Well, we know that. So when they say it's a crime, we got to arrest you. No, you don't. Traffic infractions are not a crime, bro, whatsoever. What you talking about? Quote, first, it is well established law that the highways of the state are public property, and their primary and preferred use is for private purposes, and that their use for purposes of gain is special and extraordinary, which generally, at least, the legislature may prohibit or condition as it sees fit. And that's all. And that's all. This ain't no sovereign citizen theory over here, homeboy. So you're telling me that Yuko says in the chat, y'all, that opinions in cases don't have legal weight. Okay. Well, the way that we bring forth constitutional violations, they do, good sir. Constitutional violations are everything. And when they're at the forefront and brought forth and invoked with good judicial notice, my good sir, those constitutional hearings get really big. Because instead of putting yourself into a statutory framework, I can see why you would say that, Yuko, because I would see how one would be like, okay, well, I'm going to bring something forth in relation to a motion to dismiss, right? Well, if you bring forth a motion to dismiss, what ends up happening? You're going to be falling up under that 8.3 statutory framework side of the courtroom, and they're going to operate under that side of the courtroom. Okay. But if you was to bring in a notice and demand as unconstitutionally applied for a notice and demand to dismiss as unconstitutionally applied with a memorandum of points and authorities, then you're taking yourself outside of the statutory 8.3 framework and bringing yourself into the court under the constitutional framework, which is two different bodies of law. So that way, if there's any confusion of such and we get some kind of bias or prejudice in relation to our ruling, if we've brought forth everything correct in relation to the constitutional violations that should be at the forefront anyways, instead of going on to the charges that are brought forth after the constitutional violations, then there's a violation of due process. Then that's clear, easily able to get a disqualification on a 211 and move forward with another judge. So for me, I just be looking at it like, You know, case law and opinion does work really well when you bring forth constitutional violations under the constitutional framework side in the courtroom rather than your statutory side. So, yeah, little bit there for you to kind of understand how to finesse and get where you need to be as far as the application. So, again, the legislature may only prohibit or condition as it sees fit those who are using the roads for gain, which is a special and extraordinary use. Freedom to travel is indeed an important aspect of the citizen's liberty. We are first concerned with the extent, if any, to which Congress has authorized its curtailment. Kent versus Doles. That's an important one. And they always be so mad when we be using Kent versus Doles because they know for certain. And they'll never re-argue it either. It's so crazy that everybody coming through with all these documents and they arguing so heavy in the courts. We all arguing in the courts very heavily. And we're the judges are working with us too, because we telling them we telling the judge, hey man, they ain't arguing. They just over here blatantly just saying, oh, they over here just blatantly saying, oh, these are sovereign citizen theories that have been well disregarded a long time ago. Man, stop with all that. Argue my constitutional arguments. Let's get to it. You're failing to prosecute. You have a duty. Don't let me get into the rules that you're supposed to abide by. Then we start hitting them on their rules that they supposed to abide by and that they not operating on. So then they get caught up because now they're required to do it because we don't. Oh man, it's so like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're not gonna hit us like you think you're gonna hit us. We're gonna hit you and make you do your duty. We're gonna get you beyond that preponderance and we're gonna get you into the probable true cause. The right to travel is part of a liberty of which the citizen cannot be deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment. This is no sovereign citizen theory. This is what it is. So much is conceded by the Solicitor General. In the Anglo-Saxon law, that right was emerging at least as early as the Magna Carta. It's so deep. It's so deep. The use of the highway for purpose of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common and fundamental right of which the public and individuals cannot rightfully be deprived. Got him. Quote, the right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon, either by carriage or automobile, is not a mere privilege which a city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which he has under the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's so easy. It's so easy. Why are we arguing? What is this argument based on, bro? Quote, even the legislature has no power to deny a citizen the right to travel upon the highway and transport his property in the ordinary course of his businesses or pleasure, though this right may be regulated in accordance with the public interest and convenience in relation to profit. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Restroom break. Yeah. Okay. Quote, it is now universally recognized that the state does possess such power to impose such burdens and limitations upon private carriers when using the public highways for the transaction of their business. There it is. Private carriers when using the public highways for the transaction of their business. With respect to common carriers using the public highways for the transaction of their business and the transaction of persons, transportation, of property for hire. That rule is stated as followed by the Supreme Court of the United States. A citizen may have, under the 14th Amendment, the right to travel and transport his property upon the public highways by auto vehicle, but he has no right to make the highways his place of business by using them as a common carrier for hire. So the distinction is that you do have a right, a clear right. I want to highlight this one. Highlight this bad boy. Oh no. Undo that. Edit. Undo strike through. And I don't want the strike through. I want like let's do a green. And we'll do boom. For hire. Yeah. Again, a citizen may have under the 14th Amendment the right to travel and transport his property upon the public highways by auto vehicle, but he has no right to make the highways his place of business by using them as a common carrier for hire. Such use is a privilege which may be granted or withheld by the state in its discretion without violating either the Due Process Clause or the Equal Protection Clause. Buck versus Kuyak Kendall. The right, yeah, we're going to end it on this page, page 9. Yep. The right of a citizen to travel upon the highway and transport his property thereon in the ordinary course of life and business differs radically and obviously from that of one who makes the highway his place of business and uses it for private gain in the running of a stagecoach or omnibus. The former is the usual and ordinary right. The former is the usual and ordinary right of a citizen, a right common to all, while the latter is special, unusual, and extraordinary. As to the former, the extent of legislative power is that of regulation. But as to the latter, its power is broader. The right may be wholly denied, or it may be permitted to some and denied to others because of its extraordinary nature. This distinction, elementary and fundamental in character, is recognized by all the authorities. All the authorities. So we're gonna end it on page 9 on this one. I guess we'll make this like a little mini series for every morning this week. We'll just keep continuing to bring it through and vibe with y'all this week. Ain't no problem with me. I'm vibing with y'all. Y'all gonna vibe with me. We gonna get to this knowledge, baby, because they trying to stop us from getting to it, but they can't stop it. So we just gonna keep getting to it. That's all we can do. And the more case law that we're able to comprehend and know, opinions, you're able to implement into your arguments because you know who you are. And that's what's most important to me, is that you figure out and know who you are. Like, it is so important for me for you to know who you are. I really, truly need it. Because I need my children to understand too, and our generations to finally get back to really just empowering one another. Okay. It's so important. I just want y'all to remember that I am you and we are us, and we are all a part of the great I am. If you want to join up Operation Wise Dome and get into the private meetings that we have on the back end and the extensive amount of things that we do over in the Discord, you can become a member at piitp.com/wisedome. That's WISEDOME. Of course, it's wisdom, right? Because wisdom is bestowed from the great creator. But just remember that I am you and we are us, and we are all a part of the great I am. I'll see y'all tomorrow for part 2. You dig? Later, y'all.